Hello, my name is Plague Moniker. Welcome to the channel. Feel free to stay as long as you like. Today, me and my friend Jesse, otherwise known as Jess Egg, or Egg, will be discussing a short story called The House of Asterion. I would recommend reading the short story before watching, but it's not strictly necessary. Essentially, we're just doing a bit of literary analysis for fun, because we're big dumb nerds. So here's an unedited look at literary discussion between two terminally online PNGs. Enjoy. I mean, we shouldn't talk about the twist first, right?
No, I think that it's a really good like dagger to your heart last sentence of a story. It's so well done. I think.
It is. And I feel like because when I was first reading it, I was like, wait, Asterion, that name is very familiar to me, and I'm not 100% sure why.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, what is that? That's something. But then I started reading and it was like, okay. First of all, one of the things that I think is interesting is how it says in the text that the original language says 14, but it means infinite, right?
Yeah, just an arbitrary number because he's simple, essentially, or at least uneducated.
I was wondering about that because it's like that sort of reminds me how like the word for 10,000 is like the word for infinite in I don't remember which languages.
Chinese, at least, I think.
Chinese,
or
sure.
like a narrative shortcut for it, certainly.
Yeah. But it's like 10,000 and infinite are the same, and this kind of reminded me of that. So I thought that was interesting.
It's really interesting that it's such a low number as well that it's used for that. It really speaks to just like the copied, pasted. Essentially, he's living in the damn back rooms when you think about it. The copy pasted kind of things that and like areas that he encounters throughout his home. Like that 14 would be like the biggest number, or maybe larger than the biggest number he's ever seen.
I was gonna say, so what you're saying is he's simple.
Yeah, maybe he's simple.
Maybe he's simple.
Yeah, I mean he is, right? I mean he was never educated, obviously. I mean he was born a monster and thrown into the back rooms. So
that's
he probably didn't have ample chance to learn, but he's still like sapient. He's still like thinking things through and has opinions on things, and you can hear them from his own ostensibly mouth. So it's really cool to like give that humanity to monstrosity, I guess.
Yeah,
to put words to it,
My favorite line in this like first paragraph thing is the last one. A certain generous impatience has not permitted that I learn to read. Which is like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? You're illiterate, but you say shit like that? What?
Yeah,
it's like, what kinds of weird Greek, like Greek philosophy shit is like planted into your head that you can spout things like that, but you don't know how to like read a fucking book, or you don't have access to them or some shit.
I really like the language that's used by Asterion in this. Because like I mean he mentions at some point something that like in all the stories of the Minotaur are kind of glossed over, but just like by rights he's born a prince, like he's royalty, right? His mom's the queen.
True.
And so like he does have that kind of like, or at least could, and in this short story the kind of implication is that he does have that like refinement, that natural refinement to him, that like properness about him, in spite of his monstrosity. It's really cool, right? It's something that I think is glossed over so often, but just like, yeah, he is royalty. It's something that like, I don't know, I've loved Greek myth for longer than I can remember, and before reading this story the first time, it never clicked in my head, just like, oh yeah, he's a prince, that's interesting.
And the queen gave birth to a child who was called Asterion. Not for nothing was my mother a queen. I cannot be confused with the populace, though my modesty might so desire. The fact is that I am unique. And I like that part, specifically him saying that he's unique. because it's like, is it because of his, how fucking ugly he is, or is it because he is a prince, or are those two things like the same
Right.
in his mind?
He never says that he's a monster.
Yeah.
Right? He just knows that he's different from other people. And I
Yeah.
mean, later on, he mentions that, like, the only two things that are not repeated are the sun and him. So, what does that mean? I don't know, but it's something that he noticed. He has the mental presence to notice that, right? So it's like, I don't know. It's so interesting. I love stories like this. There's a Russian short story as well of just like a man slowly becoming a dog, and you like see the degradation of like thought process and all that eventually, and it's super well done. And it reminded me of this, of just like, getting in the head of like some creature and just going, right?
Yeah, there's a story, I think one of the first times that like me and you had ever like talked, when I was like first invited to the Discord server by Ben.
Worm.
Yeah, Worm.
Yeah, I remember. I remember you mentioning it. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was one of the things I love about, Worm is like the perspective writing in it, because it's so like the perspective of each character and like the timbre of the writing in those sections is different depending on the perspective of the character. And one of the cool things about like this superhero story is that there are superheroes who have like mind altering powers, right? So in one of the like the very, very later chapters, there's a guy who can like fuck with people's heads, fuck with people's minds, and the main character, the person whose perspective it is, comes into contact with that character. And then you can read how their perspective is kind of shifting, and like things are happening because their brain is being affected, and this is how they're seeing it. And then that character gets killed by one of the allies because she's immune to that effect, because she has like invisibility and he can only do it on people he perceives or some shit.
Sure.
But it's like, it was really cool.
So cool.
Really cool, just in like the abruptness too of how like, wait, things don't seem right in this particular moment, and then it like snaps back to reality because the guy who was causing these things just gets fucking murked by one of the ally characters, which is great.
Yeah, it's like that feeling, where just like you're having a dream, and just like something, like you have like the presence of mind to like notice things, right? And like you notice something wrong, or you notice something that can't be true or something, and you're just like, oh my god, I'm in a dream, and then you wake up. Essentially,
fuck, where
right?
am I?
Like that realization, just being so like shocked, just like, oh, I'm dreaming, okay, and then you wake up and you're like, well, okay.
Yeah, all right,
odd.
sure. Interesting. Let me see. Okay, so we'll go back to my talking points.
Oh yeah.
Because we were talking about how I don't know why I wrote this down. I said illiterate can't even spell bitches, let alone get none.
That's damn true, though.
It is so fucking true. I was just trying to, like, when I was reading it, I was like, how can I make this a shit post? Like, how can I just take this like old story from like the 1940s and then just spice it up for like the modern era by fucking memeing about it?
I mean, how else are we meant to learn about
Truly.
olden times if not by shit posts?
Yeah, that's why I love fucking OSP so much.
Oh yeah,
because they just turn old stories into shit posts. They're so good.
Hey, it's an effective teaching tool.
Yeah,
like
it makes shit fun, dude. Like, why not? Okay. Let me see. Going back up towards the beginning of the story. He is not a prisoner by lock, but a prisoner by societal design. Parentheses, he ugly. We had already discussed that a little bit.
Yeah, he mentions, and I mean, at one point, he talks about like going about the townsfolk and being recognized and going back home. Like, he could leave. It's just no one likes him. He would feel very othered, very isolated, and he has the presence of mind to know that people don't want him around. But I feel like beyond that, he's just like, well, I have everything I need, because like the labyrinth is very much everything he's known, right? Like, he talks about, all the all the fun things he does, running around until he hits a wall and falling onto the floor. You
Yep.
know, creating an imaginary friend that he has, the other Asterion.
I pretend that he comes to visit me, and then I show him my house.
Yeah. But yeah, like he obviously yearns for that kind of any kind of social connection, which is I think why he's like kind of twisted the people being sent to kill him every 9 years into something positive, right? Because it's the only real social interaction he gets, even if it is like blindly killing them. Essentially, it's more than the nothing that he's used to.
Right. So the little talking point note that I have on that section says stir crazy shadow boxing in his room, motherfucker. Parentheses relatable.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because you know how you're just fucking alone in your room sometimes, and then. Well, I don't know if you know that feeling. I'm alone constantly, but you're actually like you have like a wife and stuff.
I sure do.
Fucking.
I don't know. I'm alone at times. Probably not as often, but not never. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm alone fucking constantly, so I can relate to Asterion in that way.
Hell yeah, dog.
Shadow boxing in his room, motherfucker.
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
I'm fast as fuck, boy. One of the other things that I do in my room alone is choreograph. There's a YouTube channel who like I watch called Steezy, where they have a series called 3 Choreographers, 1 Song, and it just shows how like different choreographers from like similar backgrounds would choreograph to songs and stuff. I like watching dance. Dance is fun.
Honestly, I can't think of a better way to spend time alone in your room than learning sick moves.
That is literally what I do, and I'm just like I can't imitate any of their moves because like I can't move like that because like I don't have training. But like I'll listen to the songs or whatever. Like I'm not classically trained or trained at all. But I listen to the songs they do. I just kind of fucking like worm around, and it's a fun time.
I can't kick my leg that high. I'm sorry, person on the computer.
I'm sorry, computer person. I'm not going to take your Steezy classes. It's the channel offers classes where like you can learn how to do these dances. I'm like, I'm not going to fucking do that. Like I can't move that way. I'm stiff as a board. I ain't got any flexibility. I got no hose, just like Asterion.
No flexibility, none money, no bitches.
No bitches. Can't even spell bitches, let alone get any. My God. At least I can spell bitches, but I can't get any. Is that worse? Arguably. I don't know.
What does it mean? God
what does it mean? Just the word bitches in Greek on his wall. He was like, I don't know how to read that.
No, he's just like one arm crossed over the other hand, just like on his chin, just stroking his chin. Just, of course, it all makes sense now.
I see. I don't understand. Of
Damn,
course.
I wish I could read.
Damn, I wish I could read. Oh, yeah. And then the people who come to his house, the 9 people every, 9 years that come to his house, is like, why does it say bitches on the wall? Like, what is that? What is this about?
Looks like a child wrote it on the wall in crayon, but it says bitches.
I was like, who did this? How did this house get built?
Yeah, and then they're killed by the Minotaur.
Oh, and then they're killed by the Minotaur. One of the things that I did find interesting was I was looking at some of the things that like other people had thought about this story, and he was like, he kills the people who comes to his house because he believes that that's what they want. Because like he doesn't sort of understand.
Delivers them from evil, I believe, is what he says.
Yeah. Where's the actual thing? So may enter the house so that I may deliver them from evil. I hear their steps or their voices in the depths of stone galleries, and I run joyfully to find them. They fall one after another without my having to bloody my hands, which I thought was interesting. That phrasing of it. and they remain where they fell, and their bodies help distinguish one gallery from another. I also thought was interesting. It's like, I ain't
Well,
got...
he says they kind of repeat, so I guess having a dead body in this one kind of helps.
It's like, I have no furniture. And like, that was one of the things that he said, like, right up in the first part, where it's like, even my detractors or so. Wait, what was it?
Even my haters be saying I ain't got no furniture.
Yeah, I was like, is that a burn? Here it is. Even my detractors admit that there is not one single piece of furniture in the house. Is that like a flex? I don't understand. Like, what? Like, yeah, even all my haters know I ain't got any chairs. Like, what do you mean?
Many people are saying this, Steve.
Many people are saying that. I ain't got no fucking chairs.
I don't have a couch.
Yeah, I got no chairs. I got no couch. I got no bitches. I ain't got nothing really.
All I got is these damn skeletons.
All I got is these skeletons. That's all I know. How the rooms are different from each other, because this one has 9 and this one has 9, but they're dressed differently.
Yeah, but yeah, he really seems to have like this idea of death being like a good thing. I guess because life hasn't really given him so much, he must assume death is better somehow. Or at least different, and different would be better. I mean, and that kind of leads into the final lines of the story.
Yeah, the final lines of the story. I'll go from the last couple of like the last paragraph. What will my redeemer be like? I ask myself. Will he be a bull or a man? Will he perhaps be a bull with the face of a man, or will he be like me? And then time skip, perspective change. The morning sun reverberated from the bronze sword. There was no longer even a vestige of blood. Would you believe it, Ariadne? Said Theseus. The Minotaur scarcely defended himself. Gut punch.
Oh, yeah. Especially after being in his head for so long, and it's just like, yeah, he wanted to die, essentially.
Yeah.
But like not in a depressed way, it doesn't sound like, from the way Asterion talks about it. It's not like from a like perspective of like self-loathing or anything. Like he seems content, but I feel like he just wants something more or different, or just like kind of the resignation almost, that just like someone eventually will be strong enough to kill me, and I'll know when I know, kind of thing.
My favorite couple of sentences about that specific. I love how like old stuff uses language just like so artfully, like how all of it is like, you know, thought out. And my favorite sentences from that second to last paragraph there. If my ear could capture all the sounds of the world, I should hear his steps. I hope he will take me to a place with fewer galleries, fewer doors. I was like, that's fucking bars, my guy. Like,
oh yeah.
For somebody who doesn't know how to fucking read, like, how are you saying that shit all the time? Like, that's the whole fucking story, is just bars from Asterion.
No, for sure. Like, he does have like a very like unique way with words as well. Like, just the way he, like, he's obviously, like we said, simple, but like he speaks like in a very well thought out way when he does, you know, like he has like definite opinions on things, and it's just really interesting to see that like coexist. Those two ideas kind of coexist.
Right. I didn't, and I was, so when I got to like the last sentences and then I saw Ariadne and Theseus, I was like, oh, the Minotaur, I understand. That's where I know Asterion from, is because I know Asterion from Asterius, and I know Asterius and Theseus from Hades specifically, where Asterius is the Minotaur and Theseus is a giant piece of shit.
Plenty of times in that boss fight.
So many fucking boss fights, god damn it. Oh, and then they work together, because of course they do. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Ugh. This story has made me appreciate those two in the setting of the game more. It was like, oh, they died, they went to hell, they're friends now. That's neat.
Yeah. Like, they don't have that kind of society around them to tell them that they have to try to kill one another anymore. So, like, why not? I mean,
Yeah.
death is called the Great Equalizer for a reason across however many centuries of language and storytelling.
Right. Yeah. So, Asterion, Theseus. Theseus in this story still... I guess he isn't portrayed as much of a piece of shit as I sort of expect him to be from having played Hades.
Yeah. I mean, granted, we get literally 2 sentences from him. But yeah, I don't know. He doesn't seem pompous. He just seems kind of like, kind of surprised, like in disbelief. Just like, I don't get it. Just like, would you believe it? I get to, did you see that shit?
Just like I don't know. I sort of expected more.
Yeah, from this monster that's been plaguing this kingdom for however many decades, right?
Yeah. But yeah, interesting story. What makes this one of your favorite short stories as opposed to like any of the other ones? Why would you put this in the top tier? What about it do you think makes it so good?
The perspective. The perspective of a character that you really truly never hear from, but is made interesting because the writer gives so much character to them. Right. It's legitimately interesting to just talk about how this character talks, right? And like there's so much character there and personality, but it's this like character that's otherwise a footnote in someone else's story, right? Like it's really interesting to get that shift. And I don't know, like it's absolutely beautiful. Like you said, like there are like some truly just good sentences, just like very artfully written.
Yeah, I'm just coming from like I don't know, like a choir person's background, I guess, or like a musician's background and like a vocalist specifically person that sings. I'm a big fan of like lyricism and like lyrical analysis, and that sort of is it's not exactly the same, but it's similar enough. Like lyrics are similar enough to writing that both of the same things sort of apply to how I analyze the words put together.
Any kind of prose or poetry, there is like an intended rhythm to speak it in, right? Like no matter what. So like there is that kind of musicality, for lack of a better word, I suppose, off the top of my head, to speaking, to reading something in your head. I mean, even reading something in your head, you kind of do the intonations and all that as you go along. Like there's rhythm to it for sure.
Yeah, and it's interesting, I think, like as far as analysis of like music and songs go versus literature, like you sort of, there's a lot to literature where it's like this in like how something is long form versus how something is short form, in that how it's put together, how it's worded. There's like a lot of similar things. They're just different enough to be distinct. I don't know. Maybe they're more similar than like I'm wording it to be, or I'm not wording it in a particularly eloquent way. But like songs are different to analyze because they're short, but a lot of that analysis can also be applied to long form literature, I think, is like the long and short of what I am actually trying to get across.
Oh yeah, I mean the analysis is still there. It's just what you're looking at or talking about, like the component parts that you're actually talking about and focusing on between the two are probably different, but it's the same kind of analysis, right? Just like essentially asking why over and over and over again until you can't get an answer anymore, right?
Right.
I mean, that's what analysis is all about.
And like Asterion, I don't read, except I just, know how to read and choose not to, or in the case of musical analysis, choose to read the shorter words rather than like the hundreds of pages of words, because I don't know. It just it seems like kind of a lot.
Yeah. Generous impatience.
Generous impatience. Look, okay, listen. I'm just a certain generous impatience has not permitted me to pay the fucking attention to any book that is necessary for me to analyze it. There's my new catchphrase. A certain generous impatience has not permitted that I fuck with you. So
has not permitted that I give a damn about your damn life.
Yeah, I do not fuck with you. Please stop associating with me. I am generous and impatient or something. I don't remember. I don't permit
Here's
you.
a
Fuck
butterscotch,
off.
go away.
Have a candy, get out of my life. Okay. Yeah, I think that about wraps it up for all my opinions that I had to say.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, it's sad that there's like kind of not more to talk about. I mean, it is like less than 2 full pages. Right?
Yeah, and we have been talking for like a significant amount of time about it. Like my OBS says we're going for 27 minutes about these 2 pages of fucking text.
Oh yeah.
Which is great. I'm a big fan. Not all of it certainly was about the text, but who cares?
Yeah. Do we say what the story is? Is that going to be information given at some point? Because I don't think we ever said.
Did we not do that the whole time?
The story is The House of Asterion by Jorge Luis Borges.
Oh, yeah. Well, they do know that because in my OBS, I have it like pulled up like okay. The entire time we've been talking, I've had the text like it just open the PDF open in a window, so like they can see the text. Like I've been like looking at stuff and
okay.
highlighting it.
I've been off of memory, man.
I could have put this up on Discord, but I forgot. Like I could have just streamed the fucking page, and then we could have actually been both looking at it. But you know,
a note for next time. Perhaps.
Yeah, a note for if we actually do this again, which I hope we do. I would have to read more, which
heaven forbid.
My God! But if it's short, I feel like I can handle it. Probably, maybe. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Should we do like? I haven't done like any YouTube content in like months. Should we do like a plug or something?
I mean, that's up to you. I ain't got nothing going on. I'm a damn light designer, Steven. I have nothing to plug.
This is my friend Jesse. He's cool. If you want to possibly interact with him over posts, you can go to our Discord. Hey, there it is.
Oh my
That's
God.
what we should plug. Let's go.
So true.
I found it. Hell yeah.
We fucking found it.
We could go if you want to talk about this or have any reactions to this particular video. I'll put the link for my Discord in the description because this is going to be on YouTube. I'll put it down there, and if you have opinions, if you got any opinions, you go there and then fucking shit post about them or whatever.
Hell yeah. That's most of what we do on the Discord, but also we could talk about stories. Possibly give recommendations of stories to talk about.
Yeah, that I should make a new channel for that. I don't want that to be just the YouTube channel. I'll make like I could open up the homework channel, or I could do I don't know. We'll figure something out. But yeah, I stream on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central usually, and then I also have the Discord server where you can shit post if you like, and I also put my schedule and all activities there. So if you're watching this and actually managed to watch to the end, appreciate you. Thank you.
Out there.
What are you doing with your life? Thank you for coming out. See you later. Bye.